I'd need to go into about a 20-minute break after that.
Okay, so we're just staying where we are for now. Continuing breathing. Well, some people who weren't at Belize and might need a little bit more of an explanation about the breathing. So if you imagine the arcs, so you've got one there, and I have to put the microphone down. And then those arcs come together with the apex between your feet. So it's like a pair of scissor blades joining up. And then separating out on the exhale. And they come back in on the inhale. So it's like this. And you imagine the same thing, but with the lotus petals would be going downwards from that point between your feet. So they'll be going out on the exhale, contracting on the inhale, out on the exhale, contracting on the inhale. Okay? So just get that visualization real strong. We're going to sit here for a few seconds or so everyone's clear about that. So we hold the intention of keeping our focus on that breathing throughout all the exercises. Okay, if you lose the focus, just gently bring yourself back to it. Okay, and I'll try and remind you as well. So, getting ready to get into the first movement, just come round a little bit, twiddle your feet and move your hands. And then get into, it's like a cross-legged position, but you slide, if you can, your feet outwards towards your knees, so your knees are as flat as possible towards the floor. So it's like it's cross-legged, but you just slide your feet out. Okay. If you can't do it, just get into whatever's comfortable. So I'm going to explain this one, and then I'll talk you through the first one, and then you repeat it 2 more times on your own, okay? So, from the cross-legged position, just stay sitting up straight and put your hands on the floor, connect with the floor, and connect with the breathing again. Okay, so petals folding up towards the central vertical column on the inhale, petals folding out to the 45 angle on the exhale. Just get that real clear. So, on the next exhale, you slide your hands away from you and you take the stretch to its full extent, leaving enough frequency to focus on the breathing. And breathe into the stretch. Yeah. It's... Yeah, so you've got like a... You've got a... Yeah, so just look. They're like that. They open. There they stay. They stay. They stay where they are. The 45 ones fold towards that vertical line. And then they open, okay? The vertical stay, Amy. They become one line. They fold towards the line. And then open, okay? Yeah. It's like your leg, it's like you have one's doing that, one's doing that. But the joining point is between the feet. Okay? So you come up on the inhale and you repeat that whole sequence 2 more times. Alright, so you always stretch out on the exhale and then you come up on the inhale with this particular movement. Alright? Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry. I've made a mistake. You need to, so if you've got your left leg in front, you need to have your right leg in front, so you swap legs over. Or if you've got your left leg on top, you need to repeat the movement with your right leg on top. All right? Between your feet. The centre of the flower is between your feet, yes. Okay. So, breathing out. Stay there as long as comfortable. Stay there for, 30 seconds, a minute. If you can. And come up. And when you come up, keep your focus on your body, on the breath. It's still part of the movement. Keep the intention of grace in the body. Coming up on the inhale. Okay, so I'd just like to explain that we've just done that once. Alright, so you repeat that whole sequence again twice. So that means, say you started with your left leg on top. You do the movement again with left leg on top. Then you do the movement again with right leg on top. And then you repeat that. So all in all, you will have 4 bend downs to finish. Alright? Okay, so I'll leave you to it. You can do it on your own in your own time. And we'll go on to the next one when everybody's happy. Yeah, 6 in all, hon. Yeah, and we've done the one. Alright? We've already done one together, so you've got 2 more sets to do on your own. Okay. So with these we are activating and bringing the frequency into different areas of the body and our bioenergetic systems. Those people that have been doing the yoga and are aware of that, start trying to bring your consciousness into those points. So, for example, with the movement that we just did, the area was around the tailbone, was one of the areas. There's other areas as well that were activated. And what we're doing with these techniques is we're bringing the frequencies from this particular breathing into our bioenergetic systems, and each movement is taking the frequency into different, or concentrating on different areas of the physical body and bioenergetic anatomy. So it's really important when we do this that we're aware of that. The frequency breathing movements, so that means frequency is as important as the breathing, is as important as the movement. If you just do the movement like an automaton, you're not anchoring the frequencies in our systems. All right? So just now, just with us all sitting here, let's just spend a bit of time breathing, and without doing the stretch, just on the exhale, just be aware that the frequencies that we're activating with this particular breath, the folding breath and the expanding breath, we're bringing those frequencies into various areas, one of them being the tailbone. So just do that with a little bit more focus now before we move on to the next one. You don't need to do the movement. Let's just stick to one thing. Okay, so have a go at that just for a few seconds and really build up charge. So before we move into the next one, the very least we all should be doing, aiming at, is going into the movement as much as we can and leaving enough energy to focus on the breathing, and just simply focus on the breathing. Now, if you can do that with some ease, the next step is being aware that the charge we're building with this lotus breathing, the folding and the expanding out again, that charge can be directed with intention into the areas that are being stretched by this particular movement. So the next movement, one of the areas, and I'm not going to say all of them, because I don't think any of us are there yet. And forgive me if I'm underestimating you. But I'm really including myself here, that we've got a lot to think about. So one of the areas that's being stretched is the area around the Ra center. So if you are at that point where you can do the folding breath real easy in the stretch, just use your intention to bring the charge that we're building into the Ra center. All right. So the next movement, we're lying on our fronts, with our hands, our palms flat on the floor by our shoulders. And I'm going to explain it before we do it. With this one, you can take the stretch and the strain of the stretch into the arms, in which case you're going to be focusing on your arm activations, but we're meant to be thinking about the Ra. So what you do is you lead from your bend. We're going to bend up, and you lead from your back. So that means your back comes first. That means you listen to your back, and you stretch as much as your back can without hurting it. So you respect your back, your lower back, because it's challenging on it. And when you get to the point where you've taken it to the extent that you can today, in this moment, comfortably, but still keep a little bit of a challenge, you need to stretch it a little bit, then be aware that it's your arms that are supporting the movement. All right? So the extent of the stretch will be chest off the floor. Okay, so we will get the breathing going again, please. So take your focus to between your feet, and let's just focus on the breathing for a bit, please. And in a moment, we're going to come up on the inhale. Okay, so inhale and come up just a little bit, then stop. Breathe out, then take another inhale and see if you can come up a little bit more. If you can't, it doesn't matter. Supporting. Now breathe into the Ra. And when you're ready, move down to the floor again on the exhale. I'm aware that it's difficult to focus on this new breathing and the Ra at the same time. So one thing that we can do is when you're in the position, just focus and concentrate on the new type of breathing. And if you've lost consciousness of your Ra center, when you come back down, then you can use the intention to send frequency to the Ra. So if you can't do it all in one go, you can do it in 2 steps. All right? So try that movement again 2 more times in your own time. I'm just giving some people a bit more time because they need it then those people that are finished, you can sit up. Okay, so the next movement, if we just sit up for a minute, we're not going to go into it just yet. Talk about it first. The next movement, the area of focus is a central vertical current as well as various chakras, mainly the ones around the head area. So if you have practiced the yoga more often, you can take your consciousness into those areas. Those people that are new to the yoga, just think about the central vertical current for now. So that means that when we do the charging breath, the central vertical current as well as those other chakras have got an opportunity to be charged, and we can use our intention to send the frequency to those areas. With this movement, there is potential for over-challenging the back. And I've experienced this personally, and I really recommend it, you don't do it. This is not a competition. So just be aware of that. You need to challenge it enough, but not too much. This is in yoga, it's called the plough, just to get you visuals. I don't know what the Guardians call this posture. But just so that I'm just saying that because I haven't got any overheads, and I just want a visual for you. There are various step-down parts to this. So some people, if you just get your legs horizontal to the ground with your back off the floor, and you support your back and you breathe from there, then that's fine. Don't take the stretch so far that you haven't got any energy left to concentrate on the breathing. If you're comfortable with that, and by the way, with that one, you're bringing your legs and back up on the inhale, and you're stretching your legs out on the exhale. And that goes for the whole of this movement. Stretching of the legs happens on the exhale. So the first inhale, you will be swinging your legs, or not swinging, moving your lower back off the floor, supporting it, and bringing your legs horizontal to the ground. Those people that are comfortable with that, the next stage is the inhale, you bring your knees to your forehead, and the exhale, you stretching your legs further behind your head so that they're straight. Inhale towards the forehead, exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale towards the forehead, exhale over the head. And that is enough of a stretch for some people. So then after that, you bring your knees back to your forehead and stay there and do the breathing. And those people that are comfortable with that, the next stage is on the third time that you've brought your knees into your forehead and your feet over your head. If your feet touch the ground, you leave them there. So that's the extent of the stretch for you, and you will breathe from that stage. Okay? So everyone in the room will at some point be at the full extent of a stretch and will be able to breathe there for a few seconds. So take the movement to the extent where you can stay there for a few seconds and breathe. All right? So I'll talk you through it. And then again, I'll talk you through it once, and then you can do it on your own twice after that. All right, but I'll talk you through it. So lying on your back and making sure you've got enough room behind you to put your feet on the floor if you think you're going to get that far. Okay. There's some room actually behind here. There's a lot of room. There's a room for at least 2 more people. Yeah, that's fine. I just need a bit of space here. Okay, can we keep the focus? Can we keep the focus, please? Can we keep the focus? Don't break the energy. Okay. Now, if you have got a lower back issue, it's actually easier to start with your feet, your legs bent, so you don't swing your straight legs over. You know where you're at. Okay. Okay, so let's just focus on the breathing for a little while. Breathing from the feet. The lotus petals folding towards the central vertical current. Exhaling, the lotus petals arcing out again to 45-degree angle. Remember, the area of focus with this is our central vertical current. So you can use the intention now before you start moving to bring the frequency into your central vertical current. So when you're ready on the inhale, bring your legs over, lifting your lower back up, supporting your back. Exhale and straighten the legs out towards the floor. So everyone, that's it, straighten your legs if you can. And you can stay there and breathe. If you're going on to the next section, inhale, bringing knees to the forehead. Exhale, straighten your feet so they're further over behind your head. Or some of you will just be staying where you're at and breathing from there. Inhale towards the forehead, bringing your knees. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, knees towards your forehead. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, knees towards the forehead. Exhale, straighten. If you are able on that one, you can drop your feet to the floor if you're at that stage. So wherever your full extent is now, it might be with your knees at the forehead. It might be with your legs straight. It might be with your feet on the floor. Wherever your full extent is right now, breathe. Becoming aware of central vertical current. And when you're ready, gently supporting your back all the way down, real gentle. Support, 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 support all the way down. And I suggest a little hugging of the knees into the chest, staying there for a little while, stretching out the back in a gentle way. When you're ready, do that sequence again, twice more. Please take your time. when it's time for you to move and you need to listen to your back, it will let you know, it will sort of go, it will sigh if you look for it. Okay, so when you're ready, if your knees are still towards your chest, you gently roll your knees over either to the left or to the right. Put your hands on the floor and then push yourself up. You come up real gentle, this one. You sort of roll yourself up. We're going to wait a little bit. Okay. Is everyone okay? It's a powerful one, isn't it, that one? Okay. Right, so sitting up then, please, when you're ready. Okay, so while I'm talking, gently bring your focus back to the breathing. Bring your focus to the point between your feet and just gently breathe like that. Okay, the next movement is stretching out chakras 3, 4, 5, amongst other things. But basically, it's the ones up the front. It's a really nice stretch up the front of the body. So, again, I'll talk you through it, but let me just explain first before we start. This one, you have your hands you're sitting up, and you have your legs straight out in front of you. No? This one we do 7, 8, 9 as well, and then we do a third activation, and then we just do 10, 11, 12 after that one, yeah. Don't get out of it that easily. Okay, so sitting up straight then with arms by the side, legs straight out in front of you. Fingers facing towards your feet if you can. So palms flat on the floor. And you have your arms a little bit behind you. Just a little bit. And they're sort of hip level, but you can just move them back a little bit. Okay, don't worry too much, because when you go into the movement, if your arms aren't in the right place, you can come back down again and adjust it. But the idea is when you go into the movement, which I'll explain first, you're bringing up your body, and I think you bring up on the exhale this one, which, yeah, you exhale and lift, because it's kind of like, with this one, the exhale actually helps you sort of push a little bit. I wish there was another word other than push, but you don't strain yourself. And if you lift your pelvis up when you exhale, and try and straighten the front of your body out so it's parallel to the floor. So it's like a board, flat. Yeah. And the stronger you get, the more you are able to get your body parallel to the floor. But the emphasis is on lifting the pelvis. But the more you lift that, the movement falls into place. So you don't have to think about everything. Once you get into the extent of the stretch, if you find that bit easy, you can then also move your feet down so they're flat on the floor, which stretches out the front of your legs even more. Okay. And is there anything else I need to tell you? You have your arms straight, and again, you don't lock the elbows, because if you lock them, they sort of start bending the opposite way to they naturally should be. So you're keeping your arms strong. And if you find that you are sort of locking your elbows and your elbows are bending in the wrong way that they normally should be, please come back down. And again, take the movement so that you've got enough energy left so that you can breathe there. Even if you just breathe there for one breath consciously, that's an achievement. So don't take the movement to such an extreme that you haven't got any energy left and you have to sort of quickly collapse back down again. If that happens, that happens. It doesn't matter. We're just finding out what our extent is for today. If that happens, just go into the movement again and don't take it as far, and then do your breathing. Now, so you might find your breathing goes really rapid, forceful. You might find it goes slow, but hold your intention. You're building charge, and the charge that you're generating with this, with all the movements, we're frequency generating. So the frequency that you're generating through these sparking arcs, you can hold the intention to send it to the areas that are being opened up by the movement. And with this particular movement, it's the chakras at the front of the body, amongst other ones. And again, those people who've been doing the yoga and they've got right into it, they may be able to hold their focus on more than those. But I'm not going to confuse the group with that right now, okay? So I think I'll just leave you to it. So again, you lift up on the exhale, and I think you come down on an exhale as well. Okay, so go for it 3 times. Give yourself a little break between each one. Just going to give everyone a little bit of time before we go on to the next one, so a few moments. If at any point you feel like you need grounding, a little trick is you can just sit up and just have your hands on the ground, just think of it like a lightning conductor, and it really grounds the frequency really quickly. Okay, so the next one, I hope that people who weren't in Belize managed to get to Hollis's run through this morning, because if I go into this in great detail, it's really going to break the frequency. So with this one, there are various ways you can position your legs, and I'm hoping that everyone has experimented enough, even if it was just this morning, to realize to figure out where they want their legs. If you're not sure, can you just please either cross your legs or kneel, and then when you get the handout, please have a good look at it, and you will see that there's various ways to position it, and it depends where you're at. Again, there's various step downs with this. If I explain them all, it's just going to not be conducive to what we're doing right now, which is anchoring and activating this special, the breathing. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the breathing, but okay. So this one is, I'll just stand up and show you. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and we're doing it from a sitting position. I'll talk about it a little bit first. Again, while I'm talking, you can keep your focus on the breathing, just gently, all right? But get into the starting position, so cross-legged, or some of you will have your knees on top of them and both feet will be by your hips, and some of you will be kneeling. So wherever you're at with the starting point, please, for this particular posture, movement, I should say. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through it. With this one, if your hands don't meet, you can use a jacket or something, just a sleeve of a jacket or whatever as a belt to hold on to, a pair of socks, anything. Don't overdo it as usual, but challenge yourself enough to feel the stretch. So with this one, I'll talk you through it. Okay, so starting from the starting position, let's just all spend a moment focusing on our breathing. Hands on the floor by the sides, sitting up nice and straight. Okay, so if those people who are cross-legged, if you've got your left leg on top, you'll be bringing your right arm up, and vice versa. Okay, so whatever arm you're going to be lifting up, you bring it up on the inhale, and then you bring your other arm round to meet it on the exhale. So, and then that's it. And you can stay there if that's the extent, and focus on the breathing. This is overall biofield balance, so this one would be a nice one just to simply focus on the arcs, folding and opening, folding together on the inhale and opening, folding on the inhale and opening. And if you're ready, and you want to increase the stretch, you can inhale again, and on the exhale just start to move your head towards your knees if you want to. Some of you may have had enough of the stretch already, and you can gently come out of the stretch and just wait. Some of you might just want to stay where you were. Leave enough energy to focus on the breathing, even if you've come out of the stretch. And try and come out gracefully without snapping open the movement. Gracefully unfold the movement, keeping your focus on the breath. Sit there for a little while and stabilise the fields. Watch the arcs folding. Watch them folding together. Watch them opening. Watch them folding together. And watch them opening. And become aware of what they're doing to your fields. And you can have pleasure in that. It doesn't have to be grueling. You've got some wonderful frequencies gifted to us right now. And we can have pleasure in the feeling of them running through our fields. And we don't have to rush. Before we go on to the next one, I'd like to say something. Some of you might be experiencing a little bit of a challenge with this one. Where you feel the tightness, just gently and lovingly, we're being given some really beautiful frequencies here right now. And it's okay to accept a bit of the healing for ourselves. So, if you're being challenged by this, don't take it to the point where you have absolutely no room for any pleasure whatsoever. Okay, this isn't a penance. So you can breathe in the frequency and direct that frequency to any sore parts, and you can lovingly accept the healing that we're being given, which is being amplified by the group. And if you haven't got any struggle or challenge with this, go deeper into the breathing and ask your Christos, Rishi, Yarni, whoever you talk to, your Head Andrea self, ask them to show you what it's doing. And you can go deeper into it if you're not experiencing any soreness. So take the opportunity. So when you're ready, you can change over your legs if you're in the cross-legged position. And you do the same movement again, lifting the opposite. If your right leg's on top, you'll be lifting your left arm, and vice versa. And on the exhale, you bring the other arm up to meet it. Stay there if that's the extent for you. And if not, in your own time, you can move forward and take the stretch further. I'm going to leave you to it. All in all, we've just completed one. So two bends is one set. And we're going to do 2 more sets in our own time. So if you started with your left leg on top, and you've got your right leg on top now, next time will be left leg, time after that right leg, and then you do it again. Left leg, right leg, right leg, or the other way round. If you're kneeling, you just do it 4 more times. Okay, I'll leave you to it. Okay, that's great. Okay, the next one has various step downs, and I actually am not at the point where I'm doing the full extent of this movement yet. So I can't demonstrate it, but I can explain it. But you should have all had some experience of all the movements anyway by now. Okay. I'll explain it as best I can without getting you tied up in knots. I'm sometimes challenged by left and right, and some of you know. Okay. Okay. I'll just give everyone a bit more time, actually. There's some people in the room who are not quite ready yet. Okay, so just gently breathe while I'm talking. Don't go into the movement yet, though, please. Okay, this one stimulates the central vertical current, chakra 3 and Ra complex. And it's really good for the digestive system as well. I know some people have... with the Ra activations, have had, some tenderness in the digestive system. So this one's really good for that. Okay, so if you bring your right, we'll all do the same leg, otherwise it's going to get really messy. Just for my sanity, anyway. So if we bring right foot to like a cross-legged position, but don't cross your legs, but bring your right foot to your bum, to your buttock, and then that's it. Yeah, sit on it if you can. If you can't, you can't. That's the end of it. I'm explaining the full extent, so you must listen to your own body. So, so what was that? Was that our right leg? Okay, the left leg, please. You bring it up and push it over, so it's upright like that. Difficult doing it standing up. Oh, so it's over your right knee. It's on the other side of it, okay? On the outside, with your foot flat on the floor, if you can. If not, take your body to where it can. Okay, so don't do it yet. But on the exhale, you will bring your... hang on. Can I just get left? So we're twisting to our left, aren't we? Yeah. You bring your left leg, your left arm. No, I'm talking about going behind. I'm right. Your left arm goes behind. And then that gets the twist, but what gets the torque on the twist, or what sort of stretches the twist, is what you're doing with your right arm, okay? Now, even if you just hug your knee, that will extend the stretch. Or you can put your arm just over like that. And if you're really, really good at this one, you can hold the knee. All right. So whatever you need to do to sort of get a bit of torque. And you twist on the exhale. Okay. And if you are really accomplished with this movement, you can actually bring your hands together through the knee. Okay. So on the exhale, go into the twist. Breathe there for a little while. Take the movement so that you can bring your energy back to the breathing. So arcs folding up and arcs folding out. And breathe. Take the frequency into the vertical current, chakra 3, Ra complex, and anyone that's been having a little difficulty with their tummies, you can take it into your digestive system. Take it right into the physical digestive system. Don't stay there for too long. If you want to come out, just gently come out. It's kind to your body if you leave enough energy to come out of the movement gently and gracefully. If you snap out of a movement, it can just be a bit unkind to the body. Okay, so we've done half of the first movement. So you repeat it, but with the opposite legs and arms. I'll leave it to you to do that. And then you repeat that movement 2 more times. Okay. I know some of us got tired, it's been quite grueling, but try and keep your energy focused on the breathing. It's the most important thing. Okay, so when you've done that, if you just lie down, please. When you've finished, with your legs bent and your feet flat on the floor. We're going to stay like this for about 5 minutes, everyone. If you keep your focus on the breathing, if there's any areas of tension, now's your time to lovingly send the frequency to those areas. And just really sink in to what's happening. The movement's established in our fields now, so it's happening. And you can just relax and watch it. And stay like this for a few minutes, at least 5 minutes. I'll let you judge the 5 minutes. Can I just ask that if you need to can we keep this space as a quiet space? Because some people will need 20 minutes lying on the floor. So if you need to discharge some of the intensity by chatting and laughing, can you respect the fact that some people need to discharge it by being quiet? So those people that want to chat, to leave the space and to leave this one as a quiet space, please. We're going to have about a 20-minute break to half an hour, and it's really important that you take this time to stabilise your fields, because we've all just gone through a intense activation. I thank you very much. It was beautiful. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to think how to explain this. When we're learning the logo and building up the logo, which is the stage we're at now, we're doing the Ra center breathing. So this morning, with Hollis, we did the movements using the Ra center breathing. Okay? With these ones that we're doing here, we are doing the logo movements with the breathing as I describe it and as Mac describes it. You don't then have to do Ra center breathing as well. Okay? I'm sure we'll get to the point where we can do several types of breath all in one go, but this isn't about that. This is about getting used to breathing the latest breath, okay? That's it. So when we do the next sort of logos, just do the breathing as described by Mac. Don't try and lump it with all the other types of breathing. All right? When you do practice afterwards, we'll have to ask Az about that. Is this microphone working? Seems to be, yeah. There was another question, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to try and demonstrate again the breathing, because some people are having difficulty with the visual of it. Okay? So imagine a pair of scissors, and imagine the pivots you know, the little screw in the scissors being at the point between the feet. All right? So the blade's open and the handles are opening of the scissors, and then they're closing that way and closing that way at the same time. All right? So I'll do it with sort of half my body, with my legs and my arms. So it's like that, and then on the expansion it's like that, but both sides, and then like that, then like that, in that plane, because it's the same plane as the lotus arcs that we've been building up, working with the Manu breaths and all that. But the central point of the arcs is not at the Azare, it's at the point between the feet. Okay? But it's that plane we're working with, because we're working with those lotus arcs. Okay? So that should clarify a few of the questions that have come up.
Just kind of give you an idea of what the schedule is going to be tonight. We're going to break for dinner at our 8:30 time. I have a feeling we're going to run right up to that time. And Ash is going to come down about 10 o'clock. Now, the idea was to do a technical clump today, but starting technicals at 10 o'clock is probably not the best idea. So what we're going to do is, there's possibly a technique coming from Maha yet tonight that's new and fresh for us, which may be done tonight. If that doesn't come through, if that's not going to come through to tomorrow, Ash will be doing a kind of an overview of what has come through, just to set the stage for tomorrow, because starting heavy technicals at 10 o'clock is not going to work for anybody, especially her. She's not slept, and we're a little fuzz-brained. So the next technique that we're going to do is a little bit difficult. So I know when we did it on the ship, I know we were like gulping like little guppies, trying to hold the breath, and it was actually comical. I know personally I just short-circuited and went to sleep and did on the astral, missed the whole thing. So what we're going to do right now is going to do a walkthrough, a talk-through, and then just do the actual technique without a whole lot of space in between the breaths. So David's going to come up. Janie's going to demonstrate on David. Surprise, Janie. And just kind of move through and point to the diagrams and show where everything is happening as I read through it. Uh-oh. Janie with a pointer in her hand is a scary thought, but we'll move forward. Okay. We're going to start inhaling from the lotus point from the Nadra up to the Ra center, and then up to the Azare. And that's... No, we're just breathing right now. So that's not too difficult. Then we're going to exhale rapidly from the Azare, pushing the lotus from the Azare downward to the Mahadra center into Earth's core. And then the fun starts. For those of you who are taping, I would not start your tape now. I'll just save it for when we actually do the technique. We're going to inhale a rapid but extended breath when the lotus enters the Mahadra, using the inhale to draw the 1/3 ethos rod from the feet. Do you want to show where the ethos rod is on the actual diagram too? Ethos rod is coming from the feet upward through the released Greenwich reversed ethos 1/3 destiny rod at the lower calves. Through that, linking the natural 1/3 density ethos rod with the tilted Greenwich reversed ethos 1/3 density rod as the natural 1/3 density rod, ethos density rod ascends. Did you get all that? You got it? Absolutely. Okay. There you go. It's really easy, but it's much more difficult to read than it sounds, and some people just short circuit, like me. And so we'll just go through it. No, we haven't pulled any pin yet. And we're going to continue this inhale and observe and intend that the Greenwich ethos rod at the lower calves quickly shifts 113.5 degrees clockwise. It goes from an axis that aligns through the right shoulder, out the left breast. Whoops. Yeah, that's easier. Okay. That is a person. The little dots are in the center is their top of their head, and then there's the little feet at the bottom. It goes clockwise from an axis that aligns through the right shoulder, out the left breast, to an axis that aligns straight across your shoulders. Everybody got that? Okay. Everybody got that? Right. Got it. And then the two 1/3 ethos density rods merge to form a 2/3 ethos rod ascending. Okay, that's a step. Everybody clear on that? Okay. Just says merge to form a 2/3 rod ethos rod ascending. And that's going on Okay, let me start. Linking the 1/3 density ethos rod with the tilted Greenwich reversed as the natural 1/3 density ethos rod ascends. Continue this inhale and observe and tend that the Greenwich ethos rod at the lower calf quickly shifts 113 degrees clockwise that aligns through the right shoulder out the left breast to an axis that aligns straight across your shoulders and aligns with the 1/3 natural rod. Thus, the two 1/3 ethos density rods merge to form a 2/3 ethos rod ascending. Complete this inhale by drawing the 2/3 ethos rod up to mid-thigh. Okay? Mid-thigh. Exactly. You got it. It's all in one breath. Yes, it's rising and rotating. Okay, do you want to, people want to stand up and she'll demonstrate on David again what's happening and with the rotation as best she could? The one breath is going from earth core. Yeah, well, it starts at earth core. The calves, honey. Down at the calves. The calves. And then it moves up to the thighs. When it's rotated, you move it from the calves to the thigh. Then you start rotating, and when it's rotated, it moves up. When it's the alignment's complete, you rotate it you ascend it to the thighs. Starts at the feet, Amy. It hasn't shifted yet. Hasn't shifted yet when it's at the feet. Up. Okay, and then that shifts. They merge it up, right. Yeah. Feet, right. Right. From the feet, upward through the released, right. Bring it up to the thighs. Right. Right, exactly. That's the way it feels to me, Janie.
Okay, so Earth core, you're imagining that. Feet, you're imagining that. No, calves, you're imagining that still. And then, when Matt says, we start considering the bit that isn't okay, which is a bit wrong angle, which is there. So we then bring our attention to fixing that, and then
Move it up to the thighs. That is right. Between the calves and the ham.
that's where the spin occurs.
Right. Okay, when we complete the inhale by drawing the 2/3 ethos rod up to the mid-thigh, we hold the inhale for a moment with the 2/3 ethos rod at mid-thigh, where the ethos K1 intersects with the density 1 Rajna low-T PCM position at chakra 10, 6 inches above the head, thus completing the third 1/3 ancient inhale breath that has been stifled within the planetary body since 5.5 million years ago. Powerful. Okay, everybody with us so far? Yeah, that's on the next breath. 5.5 million years in one breath. There you go. We don't need a long time. Okay. Holding the breath at the top of this lotus breath, third, 1/3 inhale, you sense, observe, intend that the 2/3 ethos density rod at mid-thigh jumps as the density ethos EUMB flame and density PCM azure flame sparks the second 45 charge subharmonic spark at the azure. And just jumps to the EUMB. We haven't got there, yeah. The density 2/3 ethos rod automatically jumps from the mid-thigh to azure, bringing the PCM density 1 Lodi rod and 2/3 density ethos density 1 rod into merger at the azure, and finally aligning the destiny 1 PCM Lodi and ethos Kathara grids. Okay. The rod. Yeah.
After the rod, what is jumping? Is it the rod jumping or is it just a spark that's jumping?
The rod. The rod jumps to the azure. To the UMB. I'm sorry, the UMB. It gets to the azure. It gets to the azure. Spark goes to the azure. Let's see when jumps. Let me just read it again. Let's get the frequency from the guardians. The density 1 2/3 ethos rod automatically jumps from the mid-thigh to the azure. Yes, jumps from the mid, bringing the PCM density 1 lotus rod and 2/3 density 1 rod into merger at the azure, and fully aligning the density 1 PCM lote and Kathara, ethos Kathara grids. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, then we do some breathing, which really is okay. And we exhale rapidly from the azare using the breath to put the 2/3 density 1 ethos rod down to the mahadra at Earth's core. And push it right down. Exhale 1 and shift attention to the D3 ethos rod stationed at the feet as the full exhale is completed. Inhale the first 1/3 inhale breath using the D3 ethos rod to direct the density 1 and density 2 and D1 ethos rods. So inhale the first 1/3 inhale now, drawing the D3 ethos rod up from the feet to the center of the calves, engaging the D3 ethos K1 signet and the D3 PCM EUMB. Continue the inhale to the second. This is all in one inhale, folks. Yeah, so I'm going to go through this rather quickly. And continue this inhale to the second 1/3 of the inhale breath using the 2 1/3 to draw the D3 ethos rod from the center of the calves to about 1 inch above the knee point. Pause briefly, and again, this is all one breath at the top of the second 1/3 inhale. We're breaking up the breath into 3. I think you figured that out. So we're pausing at the top of the second breath with the D3 ethos rod just above the knee to receive the first spark at the UMB. This merges the D3 ethos EUMB flame with the D3 PCM azare flame, releasing the second spark at the azare, the 45 subharmonic azare spark. Releases the spark, right. Pause briefly at the third 1/3 inhale breath with the D3 ethos rod at the PCM EUMB to receive the second spark at the azare before finally expanding lungs fully. That's a big breath. Keeping D3 ethos rod at the D3 PCM EUMB, complete the third 1/3 inhale by expanding lungs fully, inhaling to capacity, then hold briefly at the top of the third inhale and mentally count inhale 1. And I'm going to read what's in parentheses now. As the D3 ethos EUMB and the D3 PCM azare flame sparks, forming the second spark at the azare, the D3 ethos rod automatically jumps from the D3 PCM EUMB to the D3 PCM azare, jumps up. The two 45 subharmonic sparks release a 90 charge subharmonic spark from the pillar of power and then into the PCM seed atom, pushing the D3 ethos current grid rapidly down into the exhale expansion 2. Exhale rapidly from the azare, using the breath to ride the 3 ethos grid descending wave downward, moving the D3 ethos pillar from the azare down to the feet to coincide with a full exhale expansion, and mentally count exhale 2. Pause for a moment at the bottom of the exhale with the D3. Begin inhale contraction 2 cycle by inhaling the first 1/3 breath of inhale 2 from the nadra, and draw the D3 ethos rod from the feet to the center of the calves in vertical current, giving the mental command ethos engage with the rod positioned at the calves. Pause for a moment with the rod at the calves and continue inhaling, taking the second 1/3 inhale breath from the calf point to draw the D3 ethos up from the calves to the knee point, giving the remember this is all in a breath, continuing the EUMB spark 1 with the ethos positioned at the knee point. Pause for a moment on the second breath of the inhale to receive the EUMB spark 1. Continue inhaling, taking the third inhale from the knee point to draw the D3 ethos rod up from the knee to PCM D3 EUMB, giving the mental command Azure spark A with the D3 ethos rod at D3 PCM EUMB. Pause for a moment on the third 1/3 breath of the inhale to receive the azare spark. With the D3 ethos rod at the PCM EUMB, complete the third inhale, filling lungs to capacity, and hold for a moment at the top of the 1/3 breath of inhale 2. As the D3 rod automatically jumps from the EMB to the Azure, bringing the D3 ethos and D3 Cathara grid and rods into full alignment, releasing the 90 charge subharmonic spark pulse into the PC atom. Give the mental command, inhale to jump, spark, pulse, ethos, ascend. Exhaling rapidly from the Azure, use the breath to ride the D3 Catharos grid down and into full expansion as the D3 rod descends from the Azure to the full exhale feet point. And mentally exhale 3, pause for a moment, at the moment of the breath at the bottom of the exhale with the D3 ethos rod at the feet. Then inhale, contraction 3, ethos ascent breath, repeating steps 11 to 15, inhale 3 cycle. Okay. Azure. Do that one more time so everybody's got it. Okay. It jumps there, yeah. But it's part of the breath, but it's going to jump there automatically. Okay, at the end of the 6th exhale, inhale cycle, pause at the top of the 6th and final inhale. Exhale forcefully from the Azure to the Mahadra Earth Core, returning the D3 ethos rod from the Azure to the feet point as the final exhale descends and returns to natural gentle breathing. Okay, that should do it. Piece of cake, right? Wow, you lost me. Yeah, it does in the beginning. It goes, yeah, that's why I'm confused. This is... Hold this inhale for a moment with the 2/3. This is at the beginning with the 2/3 ethos rod at mid-thigh, density 1, EMB, where the ethos K1 intersects with density 1 Rajna above the head, thus completing the final 3rd ancient inhale breath that has been stifled with the planetary body. Yeah. At mid-thigh, density 1. It's just automatically going up there. It's automatically going up to the UMB. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just automatically, yeah. Okay, we ready? Everybody's got the spin? It's 113 degrees, 113.5 degrees shift. Nope. That's right. Right. That's the way it spins. Right. As we're going through it, I mean, you're probably automatically going to be doing it. Don't worry if you lose me. You'll just know what to do automatically because there's no way that I can talk that fast. So you'll just be... So don't worry about attempting to keep up. Just do what energetically works for you. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of... leave out some of the detail because there's no way you'll just be... You got the frequency. You've got the motion. So some of this stuff is going to be left out. Okay, y'all ready? No. No, you can sit down. That's fine. It's not going to. Our little man sitting down, we can sit down too. It's fine. It'll work. Energetic will work either way, but it's fine. Yes, we will, Diana. Okay, the phase 3, the TIL-EA, zendradon complex electrical activation, phase 3, ethos on, completing the ancient third 1/3 inhale. Okay, just going to begin by focusing our attention at the nodule feet point. And just breathe from the air for a moment. And then with a big exhale, push the exhale rapidly from the Azray, pushing the lotus from the Azray down to the Mahadra center. Okay, from the Mahadra center, inhale a rapid but extended breath, using the inhale to draw the 1/3 ethos rod from the feet upward through the released Greenwich reverse 1/3 ethos density rod of the calves, linking the natural 1/3 density ethos rod with the tilted Greenwich reversed 1/3 density rod as the natural 1/3 density rod ascends. And notice the Greenwich ethos rod at the lower calf quickly shifts 113.5 degrees clockwise to an axis that aligns straight across your shoulders. Hold this inhale a moment with the 2/3 ethos rod at mid-thigh, density UMB, where the ethos K1 density 1 intersects with the density 1 Raja Lodam PCM center, completing the final third ancient inhale breath that has been stifled within the planetary body since 5.5 million years ago. Hold this inhale, holding the breath at the top of this lotus third, 1/3 inhale. Sense, observe, intend that the 2/3 ethos density 1 rod at mid-thigh jumps as a density ethos EMB flame and density PCM Azaray's flame sparks the second 45 subharmonic charge of the Azaray. Exhale rapidly from the Azaray, using the breath to push the 2/3 density ethos rod down to the Mahadra at Earth's core. Mentally count, exhale 1, and shift attention to the D3 ethos rod stationed at the feet as the full exhale is completed. Inhale the first third inhale breath, using the D3 rod to direct density D1 and D2 ethos rod. Inhale the first inhale now, drawing the D3 ethos rod up from the feet to the center of the calves, engaging the D3 ethos K1 signet and the D3 PCM EMB. Continue this inhale to the second 1/3 of the inhale breath, using the second 1/3 to draw the D3 ethos rod from the center of the calves to about 1 inch above the knee point. Pausing briefly to receive the EMB, the spark at the EMB, and continue this inhale to the third 1/3 of the breath, using the third to draw the D3 ethos rod from just above the top of the knees to the D3 UMB. Pause briefly at the third 1/3 breath with the D3 ethos rod at the PCMB to receive the second spark at the Azaray before finally expanding lungs fully, keeping the D3 ethos rod at the EMB, completing the 1/3 inhale by expanding lungs fully. Inhaling to capacity and mentally count inhale 1. Exhale rapidly from the Azare, using the breath to ride the D3 ethos grid descending wave downward, moving the D3 ethos pillar from the Azare down to the feet to coincide with the full exhale expansion, and mentally count exhale 2. Begin inhale contraction number 2 cycle by inhaling the first third breath of inhale 2 from the Nadra, and draw the D3 ethos from the feet to the center of the calves, giving the mental command, ethos engage, with the ethos ra positioned at the calves. Pause for a moment and continue the inhale, taking the second 1/3 breath from the calf point to draw the ethos up from the calves to the knee point. Give the mental command, Iumbi spark 1, with the ethos ra positioned at the knee point. Pause for a moment to receive the Iumbi spark 1. Continue inhale, taking the third inhale from the knee point to draw the ethos rod up from the knee point to PCM D3 Iumbi. Pause for a moment on the third inhale and receive the Azare Spark 2. With the D3 ethos rod at the Iumbi, complete the third inhale, filling lungs to capacity, and hold for a moment at the top of the third. As the D3 rod automatically jumps from the Iumbi to D3 Azare, bringing the D3 ethos and D3 PCM Kathara grids into full alignment. Give the mental command, inhale 2, jump, spark, pulse, ethos ascend. Mentally count inhale 2. Exhale rapidly from the Azare, using the breath to ride the D3 Katharos grid down and into a full expansion as the D3 ethos rod descends from the Azare, and mentally count exhale 3. Pause for a moment and begin the inhale contraction 3, repeating steps 11 through 15. Bringing the inhale contraction breath by bringing the inhale breath from the Nadra. Draw the ethos rod from the feet to the center of the calves, giving the mental command, ethos engage. Continue taking the second 1/3 inhale breaths from the calf point to draw the ethos rod up from the calves to the knee point. Pause for a moment to receive the Iumbi spark. Continue inhale 2, taking the third 1/3 inhale from the knee point to draw the ethos rod up from the knee point to the PCM in Iumbi. Giving the mental command, Azare Spark 2, with the D3 rod at the Iumbi. Pause for a moment, and with the D3 ethos rod at the D3 Iumbi, complete the third inhale breath, filling lungs to capacity, and hold for a moment at the top of the third breath, as the D3 rod automatically jumps from the Iumbi to the Azare, bringing the D3 ethos and PCM Kathara grids and rods into full alignment. Complete this cycle again by beginning the inhale contraction 2 by inhaling the first third breath of inhale 2 from the Nadra. Draw the ethos rod from the feet to the center of the calves, giving the mental command, ethos engage. Pause for a moment and continue inhale, taking the second 1/3 breath from the calf point to draw the ethos rod up from the calves to the knee point, giving the mental command, Iumbi spark 1. Pausing for a moment to receive the Iumbi spark. Continuing the inhale, taking the breath from the knee point to draw the ethos from the knee point to the Iumbi, giving mental command, Azare Spark 2. Pause for a moment, and with the ethos rod at D3M, you can complete the third inhale, filling lungs to capacity, and hold for the top of the third breath as the rod automatically jumps from the Iumbi to the Azare, bringing the D3 ethos rod into full alignment, releasing the 90 charged subharmonic spark into the PCM atom, giving the mental command, inhale 2, jump, spark, pulse, ethos ascend. Exhale rapidly from the Azare, using the breath to ride the ethos current down into a full expansion as the D3 rod descends into the Azare full exhale point, and mentally exhale. Pause for a moment at the bottom of the exhale, and then begin complete the inhale cycle breath. Repeat steps 11 through 15. You can do it now. I won't read them for you. Just do it yourselves 3 times to fulfill another set of 3 exhale breaths. Completing this cycle, the PC atom receives a 180 charge harmonic spark pulse and initiates nodrocele release and add-array flame current atomic etheric activation. This sets in motion the automatic activation of the TIL EA 12 cycle 36 3-pause breaths, through which the electrical activation reaches its thorough peak to run full harmonic 180 Adore flame. Taking one more cycle. And at the end of the cycle, pause at the top of the sixth and final inhale. Exhaling forcefully from the Azure to the Mahadradha's core. Returning the D3 ethos rod from the Azure to the feet point as the final exhale descends and returns to normal, gentle breathing from the Nadra key point, giving the mental command, Zendradon Adore of fire. Continue breathing from the Nadra point and take a 3 to 5 minute break. As we sit there, and then Jane, in just a few moments, we're going to begin in about 3 minutes, we're going to begin the final locus positions.
Okay, so the first one, we're sitting on the floor with our legs out straight. Create some space. Because this isn't enough, I'm going to have to stand here. So if we need to take it back. Oh, it's on wheels anyway. That'll do. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, so keeping our attention on the breathing. So we're moving the rod up from the feet, up to the azare. Sitting on the floor with our feet straight out in front of us. Spread the legs apart and bring your right foot into your left groin area if you can. If not, just take it to where you can take it. If you need to spend a little while gently stretching your thighs, so if your knees up like that, oh gosh, I can't do this and hold the phone. It's like that, sticking up, so the floor's behind me. Just gently ease and encourage your thigh and your knee to go closer to the floor. Bringing our attention back to the breathing. So this time we're focusing on the breath. And on the inhale, we're holding our intention with the rod moving up from the feet to the azare. And on the exhale, the rod's going back down again. Okay? You don't need to think about any other breath other than that one, because we're anchoring this breath now. So let's just do that for a little while. Okay, so on the inhale, stretch up, and on the exhale, bend forward. If you focus on forward rather than down, you'll go down anyway, but you'll have the right approach. If you imagine someone's hand gently at the base of your spine and gently easing you forward. So think forward and invite your lower back to move forward. When you're at the extent of the stretch, stay there for a few moments and again focus on the breathing. Moving the rod up from the feet to azare and down again. Leave yourself enough energy to come up gracefully. You can stay down there for a bit longer if you want to. If you're ready to come up on the inhale. Sit there for a little while at the centre. Take the opportunity to stabilise the fields. Hold the intention of the rod moving up and down, central vertical current. It's happening so you can watch it as well as intend it. Okay. A few more moments doing that. Okay, so when you're ready, change legs. Settle in that position before you attempt to do anything. Focus back on the breathing. Inhale and stretching up. Exhale and invite your lower back to move forward. Take it to its extent and stay there, bringing your focus back to the breathing. You don't have to come up yet, but if you're ready, you can come up on the inhale. Settle there before you attempt to move, and bring your focus back to the breathing. So now we've completed one set. We have 2 more sets of that particular movement. Okay, to do again. In between each time, now when you're swapping legs, pause and get back to the breathing. Because it's easier to picture the breathing when you're sitting upright. That refocuses the intention, sets it in motion, ready for when you move forward. Okay, I'll leave you to it. I'll be back in a bit. we're just going to stabilise the fields a little bit. So those people that feel stabilised, just bear with us for a little while. Nearly there. Okay, that's it. That's lovely. Okay, so the next one has again varying levels depending where you're at. This one is the one where you are lifting, you're sitting up. The extent of the stretch is legs straight and off the floor at an angle, as much as you can lift them. And then you tilt back a little bit to balance, so your body becomes like a V shape. And if you can get that far, you can have your arms parallel to the ground. And if you can get that far, you can have your arms, your hands clasped behind your head. Okay, so the step downs, which I'm going to talk through a little bit. Okay. The first stage is you have your arms behind you for support with your palms on the floor in any way that's comfortable. And when you lift your legs up off the floor and point your feet, you're keeping your arms there for support, so you don't take your hands off the floor. Okay? And if you're at that stage, you could perhaps do that 6 times instead of 3. If you want to, because you just can. Okay, so the next step will be, if some people will be able to then get their hands off the floor and have their arms parallel. And there's varying degrees of that one as well. As the muscles in the stomach become adjusted to this movement, the angle becomes more acute. Is that right? Smaller. In other words, you can get your body higher up off the floor and you're not compensating so much by tilting back. So just be aware of that. There's subtle varying degrees within that second stage. And then people that have mastered that can then go on to the next level, which would be to have the hands behind the head. You may find this powerful, and you can use the power to really bring in the frequency into the body. So if your breath wants to let rip, let it. But at the same time, don't lose consciousness of where your body's at. So you don't push the body further than it can actually naturally go. But you do allow yourself to follow where the breath wants to go. Some people may be more flowing, other people's it might be more rapid and forceful. Okay? So again, you do that 3 times, but if you're at the stage where 3 times is too easy with your hands on the floor, but you're not at the stage where you can take your hands off the floor, you can do the movement 6 times. All right. So take it to its full extent that you can. Okay, I'll leave you to it. So when you're done, just sit in a comfortable position and focus on the breath, moving the rod up from the feet to the azare and down again. And again, we'll wait until everyone's settled down. If you're someone who settles quickly, take the opportunity to really sink into the breath and enjoy it. We're nearly there, for a couple more minutes, or moments anyway. Okay, I think we're there. It's out of kindness. Some people take longer to stabilise, and that can be on the physical. I mean, some people's heart rate can go real shooting up, and that's why I wait. I'm waiting for everyone. And so if you're someone who stabilises quickly, hold the space, please, because that facilitates those people who haven't stabilised quickly to stabilise more quickly. So just be aware of that, please. Okay, so we're just going to stand up and practice breathing. There's still a little bit of shakiness in the room, so I'm going to wait. And if everyone focuses on the breath, nice and smooth. If anyone in the room is still feeling a bit wobbly, picture a pillar from your feet going right down to earth core, and focus on the earth core point, and just momentarily take your mind off the moving rod if you're feeling wobbly. If you're not, just carry on with what we're doing. Okay, that's better. Right, so the next one is the last one, and it's the tree. And normally when we do this, there's really specific instructions about the breath. But remember, we're still doing the rod moving up and down. All right? So with this one, some of you may need to be near a chair. You might need to put your hand out. Some of you will be able to lift your leg right up to the groin. Some would just have their foot on top of the other foot. And it really doesn't matter. So once you've got your foot in the position that's right for you, you then can sort the arms out and bring them together. If we all start with the right leg, I think it's going to make life easier. Yeah, right leg up. Right leg up. Okay, right leg up is right. Okay, but we're not talking about that, guys. We're concentrating on the rod. Okay? Okay. So when you're in position, you're then moving the rod up from the feet to the ajuré and back down to the feet again. And take the stretch so that you can do that. You can still focus on the breath. And if that means moving your leg down a little bit, so be it. If that means having one arm stabilizing yourself on a chair, so be it. The most important thing is that everyone focuses on the rod moving up and down again. When you've done the full extent of that one, you swap legs and do the movement again. Focusing on the breathing. Leave yourself enough energy to come out of the movement with ease and grace, if you can. And when you've done that, you've completed one set, and there's 2 more to do. And when you've done that, sit down or lie down and focus on the breath, and we'll give everyone a chance to stabilise. Okay, off you go, folks. That was lovely. Thank you. If you slide down and then go to dinner when you're ready, and just be gentle on yourselves. And thank you so much. Is this on? Yeah. 15 minutes, and then we've got another bit. I forgot about that. I blissed out. And then we have...
Couldn't hold a candle. It is just incredible, the complexity of what she has brought through today. And that is only because of the group energy allows her to do that, to bring that high-level transmission through. So we are all very grateful for all of you that allows that to come through. Thank you very much. Okay, this is it, the final technique of the series, the whole enchilada, the grand finale. This is pretty easy. You don't have to work as hard. It's not an overly long technique, not an overly complicated technique. And everything's pretty self-explanatory. But that doesn't negate its power. It is an extremely powerful technique. What we're doing now is phase 4 of this series, pulling the poison pin. And in guardian words, I will read you what this technique does. It's unplugging the genetic time codes of the DNA template and the density, atmos, etheric, atomic shields from the sextant clock, Greenwich line, and atomic C60 distortions. It releases the D1.5 atomic poison pin and atomic 1.75 black heart of Anubis implant, releasing the atomic pillar of power, and freeing the 24 lotus point and zendradon cells from the pentagonal C60 buckyball reversed radiation matrix harness. Okay, if you're all ready, just ask you to just begin by closing your eyes. I'm going to begin by inhaling a slow, deep 48-petal lotus breath into the Azure and draw a 48-petal lotus down to the Ra center from the Azure. As the inhale breath completes, hold the inhale at the Ra center and exhale firmly on a single point downward axis, using the exhale to push the 48-petal lotus from the Ra center down to the Nadra key feet point. Hold at full exhale briefly with the lotus at the Nadra and call to mind the 7 Ka-Ra bivectus crystals stored in the Nadra key. Inhale gently into the Nadra key, using the breath to draw the cluster into a center point of the 48-point lotus at the Nadra key. Exhale gently into the Nadra key, keeping the lotus and the Ka-Ra cluster center at the Nadra key. And we're going to begin to run a set of 3 ethos-on breaths. And they're very simply beginning an inhale at the Nadra key point while drawing the D3 ethos rod at the feet all the way up in the Azure for full alignment with the PCM rod at the top of the inhale. Pausing at the top of the inhale, then exhale firmly from the Azure, using the breath to push the D3 ethos back down to the feet, in sync with the completion of the full exhale. We're going to do 2 more series of those. Inhale at the Nadra key point while drawing the D3 ethos rod all the way up in the Azure for full alignment, pausing at the top of the inhale, then exhale firmly from the Azure down into the feet. Pausing briefly, bringing it back up to the azure, pausing at the top, and blowing it back down to the feet. Notice now the K-Rock 7 crystal cluster at the Nadra begins to shimmer and glow with a pale, silvery aquamarine D13.5 lotus light, and a vibration wave begins to emerge through the Nadra key and into both feet. Inhale and exhale gently from the Nadra key and observe and intend that on each exhale, the Ka-Ra crystal cluster aquamarine light grows brighter, and its corresponding vibration in the feet grows stronger. Going to inhale, and on the inhale, we're going to use the breath to contract the 7 Ka-Ra crystals in the cluster together to form one Ka-Ra bivectus crystal in the Nadra key. Exhale firmly into the center of this consolidated crystal at the Nadra key and observe and intend that the two fused units of the Ka-Ra bivectus crystal suddenly shatter into a starburst. A beautiful, pale, silvery aquamarine D13.5 lotus light within the Nadra key feet point. Inhale once again at the Nadra key, using the breath to draw the aquamarine lotus star burst into a single point of radiant aquamarine light in the Nadra key. And observe and attend as a lotus star point of light now solidifies into a small, beautiful, single aquamarine lotus crystal within the Nadra key. Inhale at the Nadra key, using the breath to draw the aquamarine lotus crystal up from the Nadra key feet point to the Ra center. Hold at the top at the inhale with the lotus crystal at the Ra center, and exhale gently from the Ra center, using the breath to gently push the aquamarine lotus crystal from the Ra center to the Ka center, chakra 2. Hold at the bottom of the exhale at the Ka center, and then inhale a 48-petal lotus into the D13.5 aquamarine lotus crystal in the chakra center. Inhale briefly at the Ka center, then firmly but gently on an exhale on a single point horizontal axis towards your rear, using the breath to push the crystal from the Ka center backwards horizontally into the tailbone. And then down vertically into chakra 1, seed seal in the tip of the tailbone coccyx. As the aquamarine lotus crystal enters the coccyx, observe that the lotus crystal begins emanating a progressively brightening, pale, silvery aquamarine lotus D13.5 light, together with a corresponding felt vibration. Breathe gently from the Ka center, while observing the lotus crystal in the tip of the tailbone. Continuing gentle Ka center breathing as the lotus crystal in the coccyx flashes into a beautiful, pale, silvery aquamarine starburst. Observing that as the starburst flash of D13.5 lotus light occurs in the coccyx tip, a set of 24 corresponding aquamarine lotus starbursts flash on, one in each of the 24 PCM lotus points, and sends a corresponding vibration emerge in all 24 lotus points before spreading into the central vertical current and the pillar of power. Now shift your attention to the Nadra key feet point, and inhale deeply from the Nadra key, using the breath to draw pale silvery aquamarine lotus light simultaneously from all 24 points into the central pillar of power and down into the Nadra key. Hold briefly at the top of the inhale, and then in one forceful exhale at the Nadra key, push a starburst of pale lotus light out from the center of the key. Hold the breath at the bottom, then quickly but gently inhale, drawing a cord of lotus light from the Nadra center to the Ra center. Then just breathe for a moment at the Ra center. And as you're breathing from the Ra center, using each exhale breath to push rays of aquamarine lotus light outward around the entire body. Observe that on each inhale, the lotus light in the Ra center, Nadra key pillar of power, and all lotus points intensifies and brightens. As you continue this natural lotus light breathing from the Ra center, you can observe and intend as the D1.75 black heart of Anubis implant pops and transmutes into a spark of gold dust at the bottom of the Ka center, chakra 2. And now observe as the gold metallic pin that extends from the knee point to the center of chakra 4 emerges and rapidly de-densifies and transmutes in the D13.5 lotus light. Continue normal Ra center lotus light breathing and observe that the D1.5 Greenwich reverse D3 ethos rod in the upper right thigh region and the D2 counterpart in the base of the Ra center, chakra 3, both spin on a horizontal plane counterclockwise from your back to left arm to front to right arm, resuming the natural 3 east-left, 9 west-right shield position of the ethos rod. I'll repeat that step. Continue normal Ra center lotus breathing and sense and observe that the D1.5 Greenwich reverse D3 ethos rod in the upper thigh region and the D2 counterpart in the base of the Ra center, chakra 3, both spin on a horizontal plane clockwise from the back of your left arm to the front to the right arm, resuming again the natural 3 east-left, 9 west-right shield position of the ethos rod. And finally observe and intend as a dense gold metallic buckyball C60 radiation harness emerges within the density 1 Nadradon cell between the Maharic shield, 12 inches below the feet, and the lower calves, and an aquamarine lotus flash emerges from the Nadra key point. Observe or intend as the C60 Nadradon cell radiation matrix harness de-densifies and disappears within the Nadradon cell in a beautiful 180 charge. A Dore standing flame emerges at the Nadra key and expands to fill the entire density 1 Nadradon cell between the Maharic and the lower calves. Inhale a deep, slow breath into the Nadra key, holding at the top briefly, and exhale once forcefully, using the breath to push the 180 Adore standing flame down to the Mahadra at Earth's core. Know that it will remain there and continue activation of all Nadradon cells. Breathe now and forever from the Mahadra Adore flame to enter the perpetual cycle of Atmos regeneration through the Tilie breathing. Well done. To Asia into Dore. To Asia into Dore. To Asia into Dore. Okay. Slowly when you're ready. It's a powerful technique, so you may want to sit there for just a moment. Let that settle and cook, especially those for the first time who did it tonight. And just wander off to dinner and find our way back here at about 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Is it on? Is it on? It is on. Okay. Anyway, I would like to say good morning. No, not quite. I hope you had a nice day anyway with the things that you were doing. We tried to at least, since we knew that, it's not just, we're not even scrambling to get a chart pack ready this time. We gave up on that. That's like with this level of transmission, it's hopeless. The artwork alone, to get the graphs down, there's sometimes 10 different pieces of artwork on one page, that shows different stages of things. But I'm learning this with you. And the transmission was coming tonight that took about 20 different diagrams that were in pieces. I had no idea what sequence they went in. I knew they were very important, and we've been working on them piece by piece ever since California. And finally, they gave the linking sequences on them. They finally released in the grids, and they wanted this information given to you. What it means is by the end of this workshop, not this workshop tonight, but by the end of this whole time we have together, you will be the first ones to have access to the information that not only shows the template working up to the crystal body, not only shows the pillar of power and what that stuff is about, but how they fit together and how that fits in with the phasing of light. And we are going to be beginning phasing of what are called the photolight cells in our body. Now, you began the techniques today. What I'd like to do is give theory and then techniques, so when you're doing the techniques, you know sort of what you're doing. Why? That kind of thing. But it didn't work out that way this time. We're going to give you theory. You're going to have a day of theory tomorrow, so I suggest prepare yourselves. I will try to be kind and give you breaks where you can get up and stretch and those kind of things, because sitting for 4 hours without a break is a bit brutal for anybody. But we're going to go through a lot of theory tomorrow, and I'm hoping, it depends on how far I can get tonight, I'm really hoping we can get you up to the phasing of light and what that means in relation to your bodies. Because you have parts of your anatomy. At this point, we have so many parts of our anatomy. It was like a jigsaw puzzle. Great. We got so many things, can't even remember the names of them all. How do these fit together? This is the information that I want so very much for you to be able to go home with. Even if you don't have the diagrams in hand yet, if you realize you have these key components to your anatomy, you can begin to use it directly. And we're participating with the planet in a very, very special healing endeavor that has to do with activating the photolight cells in the planetary body as well as in the solar body and in the galactic body. It's a linking all the way up to the Eka and over to the parallel Eka through the Akasha of the photolight cells. Photolight cells will describe more when we get into the part of the theory that deals with the matrodon cell and what are called the radon cells. The radon cells are key components to the structuralization of the etheric blueprints, which are the morphogenetic fields that the frequencies in the mainline spectrum attach to in order to fill out into matter form. We are getting into now the secrets of how matter actually comes to be from light. And it comes down to sparks. And sparks externalize as quarks and things like that. And they accrete by very specific patterns that are set by the crystal body matrices. The form that proteins take in your body, the type of folds that they have that make them the type of proteins that they are, for instance, the geometrical shapes of those folds are governed by the crystal body structures and the etheric blueprint behind that is formed by the crystal body structures. Literally, it's as if you have an invisible sticky tape, but it's a three-dimensional sticky tape that fills out form in relation to the mathematical programs in the shields, and that sticky tape attracts to itself certain types of units, certain types of things that become atoms. These are things that are smaller than atoms. They're the components of what atoms are made out of. So it's as if these atoms stick to the sticky tape, and that's what gives them their form on the outside. The form-holding blueprints, the morphogenetic fields, are the etheric body and the etheric body, and there's a few layers up from there going up into the Eka. So we're being given this information plugged right into the rest of the information we have, which, as we know, it can be very technical. We're trying to give it to you in a way that's technical enough so you can understand the significance of this material, where it's not just, airheaded, light, love, and clueless stuff, where this stuff makes sense. It makes sense in terms of physics. It makes sense in terms of electricity. But it's easy enough for you to grasp, where you don't have to, memorize a billion different things just to remember what to do with yourself. So the information, it's worth the wait. And I really appreciate the attitude of just, all right, so, it'll get here when it gets here. You guys are really great with your patience. It's kind of funny, and I might as well speak about it now, because you're a good group to speak about it with just for a minute or two. See, I'm waiting here because Ma's going to give me the call. He said, we're timing with grid activations tonight the beginning of the initiation of awakening the zendradon cell, which is the electrical cell. It is a photocell the center seal of it is located in your Kathara Center 12, which is in chakra 10. All right? And it is literally an opening of what's called the breathing tube. Now, we opened the bottom part, or the magnetic part, when we were in Belize, and the people that were there experienced the opening of what's called the nadradon cell, which is down below the feet. Now, this one is the corresponding one up above, and it's in chakra 10. But what it allows for is the opening of the breathing tube down the center of the center vertical column. That breathing tube, we'll get into it more when we do theory, but that breathing tube connects you directly to the main photocells of the light body of the Eka itself. And what comes down that breathing tube is called the Rushate spiral, and there's also something called the Shalaya spiral. So there are two different spirals that come down, and there's supposed to be two that go up. Right now on this planet and in the Earth's core itself, these spirals have been totally twisted into the Metatronic code, which means they completely come in at different angles. There are much fewer strands to the spirals that are supposed to be there. You're supposed to have 15 strands for 15 dimensions, and we have about 4.5 running. And this gets very, very personal. It's really funny. When we get into the anatomy at the point where we're talking about these more fully, there's some really lovely names for some funny parts of our external anatomy that we're going to be given as well. Because these spirals that I'm talking about, these spirals of light that move up and down or through the body that we're going to begin to activate tonight, these are very, very personal and very intimate. They come out in the atomic. They come out in the atomic body, in their private parts. And they control how energy is used there, which means they control the breeding, they control interactions between males and females, and males and males, and females and females. They control how Kundalini energies, the 9-dimensional currents and the higher ones, synthesize through the body or don't. And because this pattern has been so twisted, because of the planetary twists, our bodies have been horribly let's say, misformed as far as energetic structure goes. It has limited our consciousness. It has also caused conflict right within our own bodies, where there are disharmonic areas in the body itself that are supposed to be harmonic. These are the areas that things like cancers grow from. They are disharmonic aparthy units that, because they're in the core blueprint of the planet, they're in your core blueprint. And no matter how much karma you're clearing, you still have these, and they're linked to the photocells. The photocells cannot be accessed without going to the parallel Eka to get the access codes. And the conditions are so bad on this planet that the Adonai from the parallel Eka have agreed to release the information and the codes, because if they don't, they're going to be waving goodbye to us while we all go and visit Archangel Michael and a few others. And they know that we've worked too hard on this planet and in this universe, and for too long, many of us, to let that happen. So it's worth the risk, and there's always a risk with this information being brought here. Why? Because the other sides like to come to our workshops too. They always did. Why? Because they take the information and they figure out parts that they couldn't translate themselves because somebody translated it for them, and then they go and they plug it into what they're trying to do to make it stronger. And that's still a risk, and it will always be. But at this point, whatever those who choose to work other than Christic agendas do isn't our problem, and it's not our business. What they choose is their choices. Wish them well, wish them healing, but don't let them change what you want to do with yourself. Right now, we're in an exciting time, and regardless of what goes down on the outside, how many hurricanes they throw up into the wormholes over at Florida, what falls, what shakes, what blows up, whatever. I mean, this world is right now not in a really stable position. It could be a lot worse, and it's not, so we should be happy. Don't worry too much about what's going on the outside. What's important is a celebration that's taking place on the inside. This planet has finally said, okay, it's time to pull my head up. It's time to heal. myself. And we're choosing, by working with these technologies, to be a part of that. And it is a beautiful thing, because when you think of the planet, we're like cells in the body of the planet. And if you look at all of the people on the planet, and just look at people for now, and look at what those cells are doing with each other. If this was your body in the shape that it's in now, and the cells in your body were behaving toward each other like people are behaving toward each other on this planet, you think you'd be mighty sick, because everything's at war with itself and with each other. It's ripping itself apart. The Earth body feels that. The Earth is an organism, a living being, and it knows that this is happening. It knows part of itself is going back by way of space dust, and that's all right, because it also knows part of itself isn't. And it is determined to salvage what's salvageable of its body, as any one of us would be if we were faced with the verdict of cancer. Well, excuse me, I'm not ready to go, and yeah, I'm going to fight it. You know, I don't care what it is, I'm still going to fight it. It's not fighting because you're warlike. It's fighting because you're not done here, because you want to bring more, perhaps joy, more God frequency here, more just life and the joy of life. The planet feels that. There are kingdoms right now lining up like you would not believe the queues that are happening up all the way up the dimensional stairs, as far as groups. Everything from fairy kingdoms to elf kingdoms. There's lots of elves, dwarves, fairies, trolls, all sorts of little beings, which some of them are etheric in form, some of them have physical manifestation. But there are petitions running all over the place in the councils, because this is big and it's final. Like whatever side you end up on in frequency in this is going to determine what your options for evolutionary cycles from this point forth are. So we are in the middle of the birthing of a new race and of an old race, a rebirthing of the original races that were here, and an opportunity for those who still have a bit left in them of what they originally were, who decide they want to heal and bring back the glory of what that was. We're here to help them do that. The indigo shields will activate first. They're keyed to the Eka templates as opposed to just the planetary templates or the galactic ones. We're the ones that will trigger the activation of the human shields, because they're keyed to our shields. It's like keys coming downward. There are groups that the indigo shields down here, other indigo groups, up in the higher dimensional fields, but before you get to the Eka, that we're keyed to. So they activate, and then it steps down to us, and then we activate, and it steps out to the humans, and then it steps down to the kingdoms. So we're in a very special position right now. And I really just hope you can feel some of the excitement, and it's almost like pacing around in the outside the labor room when you're waiting for your spouse to give birth. And you can't wait to see, is it a boy, is it a girl, is she okay, or is he okay, depending on what planet you're on. So the planet is getting ready. Sorry, I got that. Yeah, the planet's getting ready.
It's a better analogy, actually.
Is it?
If the mother was laying down,
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Yeah, I want to go to that planet for a while. Right. Would you like to come? Anyway, this is the real beginning of the midwifery here, and it's really exciting what is happening in the frequencies on the planet. The opportunity to heal the blueprints that our atoms are sticking to is not something that comes around every day. And this is the beginning. The technique that we're going to do in about 2 minutes, okay, in about 2 minutes, what time that is, 10, okay, is the beginning of opening, as I said before, the zendradon cell, which opens the breathing tube. Now, some people that teach Merkaba talk about a breathing tube that runs through, the center of the body. Well, they're talking about the same one, sort of. They're talking usually about the one they mutated the heck out of, and it only has 5 anchoring rods down at the bottom when it's supposed to anchor into a ruche pattern, which has 12 and 1 at the center. Actually 3 at the center, 13, 14, and 15. So there's a whole bunch of diagrams that will help that make sense, where you can see what this spiral is, and where you can see how it anchors into what we came to know as the rainbow round table pattern, the tribal shield pattern, because they're all connected together, and all this is connected to the crystal body. And all this is connected to something called starburst, which is really exciting. And this is why we've been spending so much time getting the diagrams on the crystal body finished. You'll see these tomorrow. These have been what we've been doing today, because I wanted you to not just see it's something like this, because that's basically where we've been left off with crystal body. Well, it's kind of shaped like that, and has these components to it. You're going to see the shapes and the layers of it, because once you know that, and then you come to understand the stuff going on in the central pillar, you'll be able to understand the things that take place between the two, and that's where lotus breathing comes in, and that's where phasing of your photo light cells comes in. That's where your ethos and your eros come together and make your lotos and your logos. And you start to find the logos within you, which is your living God presence, your living God source. It is a light frequency and a sound frequency. So we're beginning this process. How am I doing? Aha, it's 2 minutes since I spoke. Are we ready? Yeah. You said prepare, yeah. No, it's not. This one's not a long technique. It's just the beginning. No, and it's not a complicated one either. We don't have to know lots of diverse anatomy and where it's located and those kind of things. And again, nobody ever has to do any techniques that they don't feel comfortable with. I personally do like to be able to explain parts and things to you before the fact, but it's just not working out that way as far as getting the diagrams done and keeping it in time with the earth grids. If you don't feel comfortable doing it before you know what parts are involved, then you can do it tomorrow, but it won't have quite the same burst as when you do it when the planet's doing it. So it's up to you. You can participate or not, and it's here we go. I'm going to let Az take over now. He's technique man. How many new codes did you add to this in a week?
60 symbol codes.
There were 60 new ones you added? Yeah.
Each of these is an individual one.
Yes. Just so you know,
This one is these.
bless him, what he was doing while I was doing these diagrams, he said, all right. He did 60 more symbol codes to add to this past week. Each one of those little things around the side are different ones. They all started out, as big codes. We're going to be using them with the chakras to directly code the chakras back into the natural Rushate pattern. Probably that will be the third workshop, when we're down in Cornwall. But I hope you can appreciate this. And there's still a few more codes that go in this. This is going to be called the medicine wheel at some point. It is the manifestation wheel. It is the monadic template. And it plugs into a lot of other things as you go up. It plugs into the Akasha level, not just the Eka level. But it's the beginning where, through the monad, you link into the vortices of the Eka body and to the parallel Eka. So anyway, I will let you have it. There's another 60 codes to come to go in it. Yeah. And technically, when you see this thing, I wish we could do them here like they do them there. It's a tiered thing, like a hologram, three-dimensional hologram in light that spirals and hangs in the air. When you want to look at it, you can turn it on, and it spirals and hangs in the air, and there's all these beautiful harmonics that run between the layers and things, and it can change. It can change shape and do all sorts of neat things. They're going to teach us, once we know the parts that manifestation takes place within, eventually, once we learn healing and how to turn things back on, they're going to teach us direct manifestation. And this is the beginning of understanding the parts you need to know and the mastery of what energies you need to master to be able to do that. So it's a real gift in the teachings that we're being given right now. Anyway, I will be quiet now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing it? Do we know how to do that? Read. Anyway, so you're not allowed to take a vacation or otherwise leave in any fashion at all until we've got the other 60 in and you've coloured them in for us. I know, I feel for you. I really do. I really do. I really do. This is really good for reading technique with, it's the... I feel lopsided holding the microphone. Okay, we're sitting comfortably. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. There's a whole bottle of it, isn't there? Because we're supposed to be on